Hi guys. So you know how last video I was reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid Rodrick Rules, the whole book in one video? Well, guess what? After I think almost 2 hours, my recording stopped. So guess what? I'm raging on camera. That's what's happening. So I'm gonna finish this book for you guys. So I guess this is part 2 of 2 of reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid Rodrick Rules Book 2. Now, I know it's not that big of a problem, but I was really hoping to get it done in one long video. But now there's going to be a video that's like almost 2 hours, and a video that's like 10 minutes. So, this is reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid Rodrick Rules Book 2, part 2 of 2. Alright, let's read. Wednesday. Yesterday at school, they announced tryouts for the big winter talent show. As soon as I found out about it, I came up with this awesome idea for a comedy skit that me and Raleigh should do. But I admit the real reason I wrote it was to give myself an excuse to talk to Holly Hills, who was Heather Hills' sister and the most popular girl in my grade. The boy whose family thinks he's a dog. Look, honey, our dog is standing on its hind leg. The boy whose family thinks he's a dog. Look, honey, our dog is standing on its hind legs. I'm a person, not a dog. Hey, you're not supposed to be up on the couch, you dumb mutt. Don't you growl at me? But I'm not a dog. I'm your son. We're off on a romantic vacation. I guess we'll have to put you in the kennel. But I want to go with you guys. Well, woof, woof, woof to you too. The end. Credits. Writer, Greg Heffley. Director, Greg Heffley. Dad, Greg Heffley. Mom, Holly Hills. Dog boy, Raleigh Jefferson. I showed Raleigh the script, but he wasn't too enthusiastic about the idea. Shove. You'd think Raleigh would be grateful that I was going to make him a big star, but like Mom always says, there are some people you just can't please. Thursday. Raleigh went and found someone else to partner with for the talent show. He's going to do a magic act with his kid from his karate class named Scotty Douglas. And if you want to know if I'm jealous, let me put it to you this way. Scotty Douglas is in the 1st grade, so Raleigh will be lucky if he doesn't get beat up at school for this. They're having one big talent show for the elementary school, the middle school, and the high school. So that means Rodrick and his band are going to be in the same competition as Raleigh and Scotty Douglas. Rodrick's all fired up about the talent show. His band has never played in front of a crowd, so they see this as their big chance to get noticed. Rodrick is still grounded, but the rule is that he's not allowed to leave the house. So his band just comes over every day and practices down in the basement. I think Dad's starting to wish he had worded Rodrick's punishment a little differently. Ba-dum, bum, crash, bam. But if Rodrick's band really thinks they can win this talent show, they better get serious and play some actual music. Because they spent their last few practices fooling around with a new echo pedal they got over the weekend. Somebody farted. Friday. Dad ended Rodrick's punishment 2 weeks early because he was going bonkers listening to Loaded Dipper practice every day. So tonight, Rodrick went to his friend Ward's for the weekend. With Rodrick out of the house, that meant the basement was free, so I invited Raleigh over to spend the night. Me and Raleigh bought a bunch of candy and soda, and Raleigh brought over his portable TV. We even managed to get our hands on a couple of Rodrick horror movies, so we were all set. But then Mom came downstairs with Manny. Look who came to join you, Chips. The only reason Mom dumped Manny on us was so he could spy and tell her if you were doing anything wrong. Every single time I've had a sleepover, Manny has ruined it. The last time Raleigh slept over was the worst. Manny must have gotten cold in the middle of the night, so he crawled into Raleigh's sleeping bag to get warm. Scream! That freaked Raleigh out enough to make him go home early, and he hasn't been back to spend the night ever since. It looked like Manny was going to ruin another sleepover. Me and Raleigh couldn't watch our horror movies with Manny around, so we decided to just play board games instead. But I'm a little sick of board games, and besides, Raleigh was kind of driving me crazy. He needed to go to the bathroom every 5 minutes, and whenever he'd come back downstairs, he'd kick a pillow across the room. Booyah! Kick. It might have been funny the first couple of times, but then it really started getting on my nerves. So the next time Raleigh went upstairs to use the bathroom, I played a prank on him. Booyah! Kick. I put one of Dad's dumbbells underneath the pillow, and sure enough, the next time Raleigh came downstairs, he gave it a big kick. Well, that did it. Raleigh started blubbering like a baby, and I couldn't quiet him down. And with all that racket Raleigh was making, Mom came downstairs. Mom took a look at Raleigh's big toe, and she seemed pretty concerned. I think Mom's sensitive about Raleigh getting injured in her house after the tinfoil ball incident, so she drove him right home. I was just glad she didn't ask us how it happened. As soon as Mom and Raleigh walked out the door, I knew I better start working on Manny. Manny's only put that dumbbell under the pillow, and I knew he would tell Mom what I did, so I came up with an idea to keep him from snitching. I packed some bags and told Manny I was going to run away from home, so I didn't have to face Mom for what I did. Then I walked out the door and acted like I was leaving for good. Goodbye, hello family. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye. I got that idea from Rodrick. He used to pull the same kind of thing on me. I got that idea from Rodrick. He used to pull the same kind of thing on me when he did something bad, and he knew I was going to tell on him. He would act like he was running away, and then 5 minutes later, he would just walk back inside. And by that time, I was ready to forgive him for whatever he did. So after I told Manny I was leaving home, I shut the door and waited outside for a few minutes. And when I opened the door, I expected to find him crying in the foyer. But Manny wasn't where I left him. I started walking around the house to look for him, and guess where he was? Down in the basement, eating my candy. Gobble, smack, chips. Anyway, if letting Manny eat my candy is the price I have to pay to keep him quiet, I can live with it. Saturday. After I woke up this morning, I went down to the kitchen, but one look at Mom's face told me that Manny sold me out. Gobble, smack, chips. Manny told Mom everything. He even told her about our horror movies. Don't even ask me how he knew about that. Mom made me call Raleigh to apologize, but then she made me talk to his parents and apologize to them, too. So I don't think I'm going to get invited back over to Raleigh's house anytime soon. Then Mom got on the phone with Mrs. Jefferson. Mrs. Jefferson said Raleigh's big toe was broken and that he had to stay off it for a week. Then Mrs. Jefferson said Raleigh's heartbroken because this means he'll have to miss the talent show tryouts, and he's been practicing his magic act with Scotty Douglas all week. So Mom told Mrs. Jefferson that I would be happy to fill in for Raleigh at the tryouts. I started tugging at Mom's sleeve to let her know this was a terrible idea, but of course she just ignored me. After Mom got off the phone, I told her the last thing I needed at school was to be on stage doing magic tricks with a kid who was in pull-ups a year ago. Who was in pull-ups a year ago. But Mom made me go through with it anyway. She took me down to Scotty's house and explained the situation to his mother. So now there's no getting out of it. Mrs. Douglas invited me inside, and me and Scotty went up to his room and started... Mrs. Douglas invited me inside, and me and Scotty went up to his room and started practicing. Well, the first thing I found out was that Raleigh and Scotty were not equal partners in this act. Raleigh was actually Scotty's assistant. I told Scotty there was no way I was going to be a magician's assistant to a first grader, but Scotty said it was his magic set, and he started throwing a big tantrum. Magic set. So I just went along with the idea to keep Scotty quiet, because believe me, I did not need any more trouble. Then Scotty handed me this shirt that was covered with all these sparkly sequins, and he told me that it was my costume. It looked like something Grandma would wear to bingo. I told Scotty maybe I could wear something cooler, like a leather jacket, but he said that wouldn't be magic enough. Anyway, it turned out all I have to do for the act is hand Scotty a prop every once in a while, so maybe it really isn't going to be all that bad. But ask me how I feel again if we got in and have to perform on stage in front of 500 people instead of Scotty's babysitter. And for my next TWIC, magic set, Sunday. I'll tell you one good thing that's come out of practicing this magic act with Scotty Douglas. It's given me a bunch of good ideas for more Creighton the Cretin comics. Raleigh quit doing his comic strip, Zooey Mama, for the school paper a few months ago because he said he wanted to have more time to play with his Dino Blazer action figures. That means the cartoonist job is open again, and maybe I'll have a shot. I'm gonna make this apple disappear. Oh boy, ta-da! You didn't make it disappear, you just ate it. Uh-oh, you forgot my trick. You didn't even eat the whole thing. Okay, watch this. Now ain't that nice? Flick. Okay, watch this. Okay, watch this. Now ain't that magic? Flick. That's not magic, it's just a lighter. Oops, I thought it was magic. Boo, you're not a magician, you're an idiot. Plus, that's not even a magician's hat. It's an Abraham Lincoln hat. Oops, the end. Monday. Well, good news on the talent show. The trials were today and me and Scotty didn't make it in. Okay, so maybe I could have done a better job as Scotty's assistant, but I didn't blow it on purpose. I just forgot to hand him his props once or twice. Magic set. We were the only ones who didn't make the cut, and that actually is kind of embarrassing. I know we weren't exactly the best acts trying out today, but we weren't the worst either. Some of the acts that got in were a lot lamer than our magic act. This kindergartner named Harry Gilbertson made the cut, and all he did was roller skate figure eights around a boombox that was playing Yankee Doodle Dandy. Rodrick's band made it in too, and he's acting like that's some huge accomplishment. Like I said before, Rodrick is really excited about the Winter Talent Show. In fact, he actually got his science fair project done a day early so he could squeeze in some extra band practices before the big night. But when Rodrick turned in his project, his science teacher told him he was going to have to start over and come up with a whole new idea. He said that Rodrick didn't use the scientific method with a hypothesis and a conclusion and all that. Rodrick told the teacher he actually grew a 1/16 of an inch during his zero gravity experiment, so that proves he was onto something. But his teacher said that's a normal amount for a boy Rodrick's age to grow in a month. Well, this really stinks for me because I had decided to do my science fair project on zero gravity too, and now it looks like all the research I did was just a big waste of time. Dad told Rodrick he's going to have to just skip the talent show so he can do a new experiment, but Rodrick says he's not going to do it. Rodrick told Dad he doesn't care about school anymore. He said his plan is to win the talent show and use the tape of the performance to get signed to a record label. Then he'll quit school and just do the band full time. It sounds like a terrible plan to me, but I think Dad is pretty open to the idea. Loaded Dipper. Wednesday. Tonight was the big Winter Talent Show. I didn't want to go, and neither did Dad, but Mom made us both go to show our support for Rodrick. Rodrick and Mom went to the school early to bring some stuff that Rodrick's band needed, so Dad had to ride in the band's van with Bill. And Dad wasn't too thrilled when he ran into his boss in the school parking lot. Hey, hiya, Frank, Loaded Dipper. The show kicked off at 7, and let me just say, I think it was a really bad idea to combine the three schools for this thing. They ended up having kindergartners singing songs to their teddy bears, followed by 18-year-olds doing speed metal guitar rolls. They ended up having kindergartners singing songs to their teddy bears, followed by 18-year-olds doing speed metal guitar solos. And now for Larry Larkin's performance of Carnage. Scoot, scoot. I don't think Dad approved of Larry Larkin and all his piercings. Halfway through Larry's guitar solo, Dad leaned over and whispered to the man sitting next to him. What's the worst thing that kid up there could say to you? What's the worst thing that kid up there could say to you? What? I wish I had time to warn Dad that the guy he was talking to was Larry's father. Hi, Dad. Another problem with combining the schools was that there were too many acts, and the show went on forever. At 9:30, they decided to start running 2 acts at the same time to keep the show moving along. Sometimes it worked out alright, like when they had Patty Farrell tap dancing while Spencer Kit was juggling. But other times it didn't work out too good, like when Terrence James played a harmonica on a unicycle while Teresa Klein read her poem about global warming. Rodrick's band was the last act to take the stage. Before the show, Rodrick asked me to videotape his band during their act, but I told him no way. He's been such a jerk to me lately that I can't believe he was trying to hit me up for a favor, so Mom volunteered for camera duty. Rodrick's band got paired up with Harry Gilbertson, the roller skating kid, and I'm sure Rodrick wasn't too happy about that. Who's ready to rock? LD. I am security. I noticed Dad wasn't sitting next to me while Rodrick's band played, so I looked around for him. Dad was standing in the back of the gym with cotton balls sticking out of his ears, and he stayed there until the song was over. Exit. Trash. After Rodrick's band performed, they handed out the awards. Rodrick's band didn't win anything, but Harry Gilbertson walked away with the prize for Best Musical Act. But you'll never guess who the grand prize winner was. Rowley's babysitter, Leland. He won for his ventriloquist act because the judges said it was wholesome. I never thought I'd agree with Rodrick on anything, but I'm starting to wonder if maybe he was right about Leland being a nerd after all. Hey, who's the dummy here? After the show, Rodrick's band came back to our house to watch the videotape of their performance. They were all grumbling about how they got robbed and how the judges don't know the first thing about rock and roll. So their plan was just to mail the videotape off to some record labels and let the performance speak for itself. They all sat down in front of the TV, and Rodrick put the tape in the machine. But it took about 30 seconds for everyone to realize the tape was worthless. You know how Rodrick asked Mom to videotape the show? Well, she did a pretty good job of filming, but she talked nonstop during the first 2 minutes, and the camera picked up every little comment she made. That shirt makes Rodrick's arms look so skinny. Security. Every time Bill stuck out his tongue and flicked it up and down like a rock star, you could hear Mom ring it. Every time Bill stuck out his tongue and flicked it up and down like a rock star, you could hear Mom ring in with her opinion. I don't like that. In fact, the only time Mom stopped talking was when Rodrick did his drum solo. But during that part, the camera was shaking around so much that you couldn't even see anything. At first, Rodrick and his bandmates were really mad, but then one of them remembered that the school taped the challenge show, and it's supposed to be on a local cable channel tomorrow night. I guess that means they'll all be coming back over to watch that. Thursday. Well, things have gotten really bad for me in the last few hours. Rodrick and his bandmates came over around 7 tonight to watch the talent show on TV. They sat through the whole 3-hour show until the band came on. The school actually did a decent job of taping the performance, and things were looking pretty good up until Rodrick's drum solo. That's when Mom started dancing, and whoever was doing the filming zoomed right in on Mom and kept the camera pointed at her for the rest of the song. LD, security, snap, snap. That meant Rodrick didn't have anything he could send to record companies, and he was really mad about it too. At first, he was mad at Mom for messing things up, but Mom said that if Rodrick didn't want people to dance, he shouldn't play music. Then Rodrick turned on me. He said this was all my fault because if I just taped the show like he asked me to do, none of this would have happened. But I told him that maybe if he wasn't such a jerk, I would have done it for him. Wait, we started yelling at each other. We started yelling at each other. Mom and Dad broke us up, and then they sent Rodrick down to his room and me up to mine. But a couple of hours later, I went downstairs, and I ran into Rodrick in the kitchen. He was smiling, so I knew something was up. Rodrick told me my secret was out. At first, I didn't know what he was talking about, but then I got him. He was talking about the thing that happened to me this summer. I ran down to the basement, and I picked up Rodrick's phone to see if he had made any calls, and sure enough, it looked like he had called every friend of his who had a brother or sister my age. By tomorrow morning, everyone at my school will know the story, and I'm sure Rodrick exaggerated the facts to make the story sound even worse. Now that my secret's out there, I want to put on record what really happened, and not Rodrick's twisted version. So here it goes. Over the summer, me and Rodrick had to stay with Grandpa at his condo in Leisure Towers for a few days. But there was nothing to do, and I was going bonkers. I was so bored, I broke out my old journal. I broke out my old journal and started to write in it. But taking out a book that said diary on the cover in front of Rodrick was a huge mistake. Ha! Swipe. Rodrick stole my journal and made a run for it. He probably would have made it into the bathroom and locked the door if someone hadn't left Gutbuster sitting out. Gah! Trip. I scooped the book off the floor and ran out into the hallway and down the stairwell. Then I ducked into the bathroom in the main lobby and locked myself in a stall. I kept my feet off the floor so that if Rodrick came in, he wouldn't know I was in there. I knew that if Rodrick got a hold of my journal, it would be a nightmare. So I decided to just rip the whole thing into tiny little pieces and flush them down the toilet. It was better to just destroy the thing than risk Rodrick getting his hands on it. Rip. But as soon as I started ripping pages out of the book, I heard the bathroom door open, and I thought it was Rodrick, so I just stayed completely still. I didn't hear anything, so I peeked over the top of the stall to see what was going on. That's when I saw a woman standing in front of the mirror putting on makeup. I figured the lady just accidentally wandered into the men's room because people at leisure towers are always doing stuff like that. I was about to speak up and tell this lady she was in the wrong bathroom, but right then someone else walked in, and guess what? It was another woman. That's when I realized that I was the one who messed up, and I was in the woman's bathroom. I prayed that those ladies would just wash their hands and leave so I could make a run for it, but they sat down in the stalls on either side of me. And every time one woman would leave the bathroom, someone else would come in and take their place, so I couldn't leave. If Raleigh thinks he had it bad when those kids made him eat the cheese, he should try being stuck in the Leisure Towers ladies' room for an hour and a half. I guess someone eventually heard me in there, and they reported me to the front desk. Within a few minutes, word got around the building that there was a peeping Tom in the women's room. Security. By the time security came in and got me out of there, everyone who lived in Leisure Towers was down in the lobby, and Rodrick saw the whole thing unfold upstairs on Grandpa's TV. Now that the story was out, I knew I couldn't show my face at school, so I told Mom she was going to have to transfer me somewhere else, and I told her why. Mom said I shouldn't worry about what other people think. She told me that my classmates would understand that I had just made an honest mistake. So that just proves once and for all that Mom doesn't understand a thing about kids my age. Now I'm kicking myself for not keeping up my pen pal relationship with Mamadou, because if me and him had stayed in touch, maybe I could have gone to France as an exchange student and hid out there for a few years. Comment Ali's Woos? Yeah, whatever. Aeroports. All I know is the one place I don't want to go tomorrow is school, and it looks like that's exactly where I'm headed. Friday. The craziest thing happened today. When I walked in the door at school, a bunch of guys cornered me, and I braced myself for the teasing to start. But instead of harassing me, they started congratulating me. Everyone was shaking my hand and patting me on the back, and I didn't know what was going on. With all those guys talking to me at the same time, it took me a while to make sense of anything. But here's what must have happened. The story Rodrick told his friends got passed on to their brothers and sisters, and then they told their friends. But by the time word spread around, all the details got totally messed up. So the story went from me accidentally walking into the women's bathroom at Leisure Towers to me infiltrating the girls' locker room at Crossland High School. I couldn't believe everything got twisted like that, but I wasn't about to set the record straight either. Snap. Cheer. All of a sudden, I was the hero at school. I even got a nickname. People were calling me the Stealthinator. Someone even made me a Stealthinator headband, and you better believe I wore it. Things like this never happened to me, so I wasn't going to pass up my moment of glory. And for the first time ever, I knew what it felt like to be the most popular kid at school. Smack! Unfortunately, the girls weren't Unfortunately, the girls weren't as impressed with me as the guys were. In fact, I think I might have a little trouble getting someone to go to the Valentine's dance with me. You're disgusting. Monday. You know how Rodrick wanted his band to get noticed? Well, he kind of got his wish because everybody knows who Loaded Dipper is now. I guess somebody must have thought the tape of Mom cutting loose at the talent show was pretty funny because it's all over the internet. And now everyone knows Rodrick Heffley as the drummer from the Dancing Mom video. Ever since Rodrick's been hiding out in the basement, waiting for the whole thing to blow over. And I have to admit, I do feel kind of sorry for him. I'm getting teased about the video at school too, but at least I'm not in it. And even though Rodrick can be a huge jerk sometimes, he is my brother. Tomorrow's the science fair, and if Rodrick doesn't turn in a project, he's gonna flunk out of school. So that's why I offered to help him out with his project, but just this one last time. We worked together all night, and I don't mean to brag, but we did a really good job. Anyway, when Rodrick gets first prize tomorrow and passes science, I just hope he realizes how lucky he is to have a brother like me. Do plants sneeze? Hypothesis. Plants probably sneeze. Experiment, feathers, pepper, feet. Conclusion, plants don't sneeze. That was long. I love doing it, but long. Alright guys, I gotta stretch. Sorry, I've probably been stretching throughout the video. But that is reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Rodrick Rules, Book 2, Part 2 of 2. I was planning on doing like a 2-hour video and reading the whole book in one video. But I ended up doing 2 parts. One was like an hour 45 and one was like half an hour. So yeah. I swear I did not leave my room unless I go ask my dad how to pronounce a word. So yeah, I recorded this all at once, sitting in my room. Crazy! So even though there's 2 parts, they were taken at the exact same time, pretty much. There it is, ladies and gentlemen. Reading Diary of a Wimpy Kid, Rodrick Rules, Book 2, Part 2 of 2, I guess. Hope you enjoyed. And ladies and gentlemen, wowzers. So yeah, this is like the hardcover I have. But I also have this. I could have read out of the paper copy. But I choose not to. What's that? God. What's this? Diary of a Wimpy Kid, The Last Straw? Book 3? What? Alright guys, see you in the next video. Like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, because I'm out. Peace.